Back Creek and the Cloyd farm on your left. So for the purpose of our scenario, try to imagine that the driveway behind you is Route 100. This direction would be north towards Cloyd's Mountain, would be in the background of those trees. Follow the road south, and Dublin, the town of Dublin, is up here to our left. This bank in here would be Shuffle Ridge, which overlooks Back Creek, which runs through this bottomland here, and then cross the bottomland past Back Creek, across the meadow, and then you enter into the low ground there just before you mount Cloyd's Mountain, which is right there in the background. During the Civil War, Dublin was a major supply base for the Confederacy. Numerous warehouses loaded with guns and other supplies for the South sat astride the Virginia and Tennessee Railroad, which, like today, runs through Dublin. It was also the headquarters of Major General John Breckinridge, who was in command of all the Confederate troops here in the Southwest. Until 1864, most of the Union efforts against the South had taken place independently. Union armies moved independent of each other. And even though they outnumbered the Southern armies, by moving independently of each other, it gave the South an opportunity to react to each one, something the military people called interior lines. So when a Yankee attack came from over here, the Confederates could move their troops over there and fend off that assault. Then the Yankees attacked from over here, they could move over here and fend off that assault, because the Yankee armies were not working with each other, coordinating their actions. In 1864, they got a new general by the name of Ulysses S. Grant, who realized the error of that and decided to have all the Union armies move in coordination with one another, which would prevent the South from shifting reinforcements to meet each threat independently. The main Union Army, the Army of the Potomac in the east, would of course move into Northern Virginia and confront Robert E. Lee's Army of Northern Virginia up around the Rappahannock River area. At the same time, a second Union Army would approach Richmond from the James River. A third Union Army would advance into Virginia by way of the Shenandoah Valley, and a fourth Union Army under the command of a General George Crook would move against Virginia in through the New River Valley. That was the one General Breckinridge was called on to meet here in the Southwest. All four armies, of course, moving at the same time made it impossible for the Confederates to move one armies around to meet each threat, since they were all coming basically in coordination with each other. General Breckinridge first got word of the Union assault coming down the Shenandoah Valley under a general named Franz Sigel. And so he was ordered, ignorant of the threat to the New River Valley and the railroad in Dublin at that time. General Breckinridge was ordered to take as many men as he could spare from the Southwest and move north on the railroads towards Stanton to head off this threat from Sigel, the Union assault, Franz Sigel. He left here in command General Albert Jenkins with a scratch force, with orders that he didn't think there was going to be much threat in this area at the time, but that Jenkins could handle it. Jenkins said, I don't know if I could hold this part of the Southwest with what I've got or not, but I'll do the best I can. Breckinridge takes off and starts moving his men north on the railroad. Well, of course, hardly had he left, then word came in from Confederate spies that General Crook, the Yankee general, was coming from Western Virginia, Harrisburg area, and moving on Dublin. Jenkins, of course, in immediate panic, halted all transfer of troops north to Stanton that were still left around to stay here. One Confederate brigade commanded by General John McCausland was actually in the process of loading the trains in Stanton when a rider came up and said, "Disembark, we need you here." General Jenkins says, "Report back here to his headquarters immediately." And of course, McCausland had to order his troops to disembark from the trains and get back into Dublin as fast as he could. He also called out all the local home guards, which were basically old men and boys. One Sunday morning, the Presbyterian minister here took the pulpit and sent out the call to all his congregation of the threat coming from West Virginia. And all the men in the congregation immediately got up, went home, grabbed their shotguns, squirrel rifles, whatever they could find, and joined General Jenkins' scratch force. The Battle of Cloyd's Mountain, the Federal Army under General Crook numbered about 6,000, 6,500 men. Jenkins had probably around 2,500. Of course, we're not even going to approach those numbers today, so you've got to use your little imagination and realize that each soldier that you see on the field today will probably represent several hundred troops in comparison proportionate to the actual battle. So when you see all these mass volley fire and the cannons and all that stuff opening up, you're going to say, why aren't more men dying? Well, you got to realize that each soldier that falls on the battlefield today will probably represent somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 100, 200 men in the actual battle. General Jenkins ended up losing something like 25% of his force in the battle. General Crook lost somewhere in the neighborhood of 10%. The first troops, when they knew that the Yankees were coming down Route 100 from Pearisburg, the first troops Jenkins dispatched from Dublin to find a defensive position astride Route 100 was his artillery. The artillery troops moved down 100, basically coming up this road here, the old Route 100 before this one was built, the other one over there parallel to it, until they reached the Giles, yeah. It was the Giles Dublin Turnpike. Sent his artillerymen moving up the Giles Artillery Turnpike. The position they picked was the high ground overlooking Back Creek. It's what's Lilydale, I think they call it. The Lilydale community up in here. The Confederate artillery chose the high ground on the Cloyd farm and began emplacing their guns on the high ground. He had basically, I think, 3 batteries of guns, the Ringgold, Bryans, and there was a third, but I can't remember what they were. Frank, holler General McCausland back there. I guess if y'all were here this morning for the artillery demonstration, if I'm not mistaken, that's a Napoleon, that's a field howitzer over there. The artillery had actually been on the field maybe, I don't know, an hour and a half when General McCausland brought up the first of the Confederate infantry. General Jenkins was still back in Dublin trying to put together some kind of force to meet General Crook's advance and dispatched McCausland to take the field, move up the ground and find out where the artillery was and to begin establishing the rudiments of some kind of defensive position. If y'all have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
Where is Cloyd Mountain?
Right behind you. It's that long ridge. It's not a mountain peak. Cloyd's Mountain is a long mountain range.
Right.
It tails off down at the banks of the New River and runs miles in that direction. But it's if you look on the crest of that hill, that dark green eminence you see that's Cloyd's Mountain. Gentleman in the front ranks with the sword. This is Colonel John, portraying Colonel John McCausland today.
Fire.
Skirmishers are not very effective in anything other than advanced warning systems.
Company. Halt.
No. You'll pick up the one.
Order. Halt.
Water.
It would be more like
How bother you a minute, sir?
Three.
Load shell, 900 yards.
Right.
Load shell, 900 yards.
35.
I'm going to shoot right over there. Pretty smart.
This time we're killing a Yankee invader. Nice round.
Target that guy.
No way.
That's the larger gunfighter on the enemy.
Kill the Yankee invader.
Gun number 2, ready.
You already died yet? Pull it.
Come on, ready.
Cover your ears. Cover your ears.
Gun number 2, fire. Load shell, 900 yards. Load shell.
Oh, that wasn't loud. That wasn't loud at all.
Did you cover us?
The real battle of Cloyd's Mountain, the first shot from the Confederate artillery before he found the range actually cleared the mountain and landed on the other side of Cloyd's Mountain. He adjusted after that. Clear over the mountain.
There's stuff in the grass. There's stuff in the grass.
Gun number 2, ready.
Fire!
Gun number 2, fire. Load shell, 850 yards. Load shell.
Probably about to fire that one too.
You need earplugs? What? You need earplugs? It doesn't hurt my ears. Doesn't hurt my ears. Fire! That one did. I didn't feel anything. I don't know. I saw something.
Hey, went down. Someone fell. Oh,
Confederate cells on the right were repulsed. Most of the Confederates thought they had won the battle. Vaulted over the breastwork and tried to press over the hill.
a little more gunpowder in each one.
Lovely girl.
The grass is smoking.
Maintain your composure. You are moving south.
I wonder if many of the drivers. He was like, oh!
Number 2, ready.
Ready. Fire at will.
Number 2. Load shell, 700 yards. Load shell.
Boom.
Number 2, ready. Fire, Mother Battery! Load shell, 700 yards! Load shell, 700 yards!
Beautiful day now.
It's a great day for reenactment.
I promise this.
It would have been better if it was raining.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching is the worst.
Number 2, ready.
Number 2's ready.
Oh, they're both ready. Double whammy.
Rear rank, ready. Fire, Mother Battery!
Because they won.
Just one guy sitting over the field.
I know, he's just laying over there.
You got hit like right over there.
Perfect place for a nap.
Yeah. Watching stuff fly over you. I like how the grass is smoking. Pea shooting.
I feel like we should sound more
Like a musket. It's not gonna be.